We know that a picture can paint 1,000 words. We also know that sometimes a picture only tells half the story. Because the other half isn't always pretty. It speaks of disease, of lost limbs, abandonment, and cruelty, none of which we are very comfortable with. But these stories must also be told, and they need to be told with love, with kindness, with compassion, with Karuna. In India, rivers enjoy personhood. Trees are revered. Some animals have god-like status. But clearly, our sense of entitlement trumps everything. The holy cow, for instance, is less holy and more of a political tool now. Reduced to being scavengers, cows now survive by eating garbage and plastic on the streets, where very often they get injured in accidents. Very much like those puppies Clementine Paws used to see crushed under vehicles in Puttaparthi. It was in response to this situation that Karuna Society for Animals and Nature formally came into existence in the year 2000.
The way animals are treated at this moment in the world, only for profit, only to give income to the owners, under extreme cruel conditions, the ongoing situation for every single animal is a disaster.
They battle to manage this continuing crisis on a daily basis. And each new day at Karuna dawns on 4 different fronts: the Wildlife Center, the Karuna Shop, the Ahimsa Farm, and the Karuna Clinic and Shelter. The range of activities at the clinic is so vast and each day so packed with things to do that a good way to describe it would be to liken it to the frenzy in the afternoon when it's time for dog's lunch. Until the dogs have had their fill and their bowls emptied out, there's this buzz about in the courtyard. Pretty much like the buzz one can sense around the clinic all day. The cattle have to be taken out for grazing in the morning. In their absence, the yard has to be cleaned. The animals that can't go out, including the old, sick, and disabled, have to be fed. There's a steady stream of patients at the outpatient facility, with some having come from as far as 100 kilometers. Sometimes there's a happy patient to be sent home after she's recovered from surgery. A lot happens in a day at the Karuna Clinic. And given that there are so many cows and buffaloes around, you might think there'd be some milk too. But not really. In nature, mother's milk is the perfect food only for the young ones. To most of us, however, using cow's milk for human consumption seems normal. But it has created a cruel bio-industry where calves are starved to death or killed soon after birth. Cows are milk-producing machines, always pregnant and lactating, tied up and isolated, crying for their calves until they are sent for slaughter. No milk, therefore, is a non-negotiable principle at Karuna. The milk from cows and buffaloes goes only to their babies, or occasionally to someone in need, to the kittens, for example, and to someone like Rama, the bear, who was brought in as a little motherless cub to Karuna. most of the cattle here have been rescued, either from slaughter or from conditions of extreme cruelty, like this bull, for instance, who had been left to die in a burning hut and was pulled out with severe burns.
Totally burned because he is covered with one tarpaulin, the plastic tarpaulin, and then burn, and then it's all liquid on the body.
After a year of care, he and his injuries are slowly starting to heal. Seen as useless in a world that attaches value only to commercial worth, here their lives don't depend on what they can do in return. Cows and buffaloes are under no obligation or pressure to produce milk. Here, they spend their lives much like they were meant to. Besides, not many calves are being born at Karuna now, because, as with other animals, cattle are also being sterilized.
For all our animals, the slogan is no reproduction, to be able to let them be free.
Animal birth control is one of the key focus areas at Karuna.
Mostly female dogs in Puttaparthi are almost all sterilized. I mean, you don't see puppies and all around in Puttaparthi as such, unless people have abandoned them. Mostly I've operated. I get them all for operation.
The Ahimsa farm is an expression of the belief in the interconnectedness of things between man, nature, and animals. It's an attempt to maintain the delicate balance. This is a pesticide and chemical-free organic garden, where a nutrient-rich, healthy soil produces pure and clean vegetables and herbs. But perhaps what they derive the greatest pride out of at the farm is this lot of cattle, which Clementine refers to as the wild herd. Defiant and wary of human contact, it's a bunch that's slowly unlearning the idea of domesticity. A group that's beginning to grow into the idea of being relatively free, not just bodily, but also in mind and spirit.
This shop was established more than 10 years ago, basically to provide healthy organic food to the local community and to generate funds which go back to the care of the animals that are with us. From then on, it has grown to many other products, and now we have our own brand called Ahimsa. Many people like to come here because they know they are supporting a cause and getting excellent products in return.
The shop also serves as an information center for Karuna.
Disseminate all sorts of information on our projects, on the work we do. Besides, whenever there's a problem in Puttaparthi related to animals, they all know where to come.
This is the site for the new wildlife center.
I like all the animals, but my passion is wildlife rescue and rehabilitation. Every month, it's a few animals. It's sometimes every year 3 or 4 bears, and then 1 cub, maybe 1 big panther. It's leopard, and then monthly 3 or 4 it's black bucks and then birds.
He and Clementine are here today to oversee the marking of what will be the enclosure for the bears. The youngest of the bears, Rama, is very special for Clementine.
Most profound experience, of course, is the relationship with Rama the bear. The only way to deal with her was to be the mother and to give her milk and food and security and warmth as much as possible for a bear in a bear human situation. But we could reach from inside, we could reach out to each other. And there I have experienced the oneness of all living beings.
The new wildlife center is located on the edge of the forest. When it's ready, Clementine hopes it will allow them to attempt a soft release program for some of the animals. Managing their funds for everyday expenses and maintenance is another aspect of the crisis which Radha Krishna likens to labor pains.
By the end of the month, it is a big difficult to pay salaries. So I want to say it is like a pain, delivery pains.
But he'll have it no other way.
It's not my job, it's a part of my life.
Clementine says she's given up on the idea of personal happiness. When the situation is serious enough to qualify as a disaster, you try and reach out to as many animals as is possible and try to give them back their dignity. The right to life, freedom and love. It is in this that you find your little consolations and victories. When the cattle return in the evening, there's a moment of quiet, calm and relative stillness in the yard. A moment when all the animals here perhaps feel the most sated it is possible for an animal to feel in the circumstances. When their needs don't quite depend on the dole that's handed out at the end of a hard day of labor. When there's no exploitation, no cruelty, no hungry calves deprived of milk to worry about. It is in the making of such moments possible for animals that you find your happiness. It is in moments like this that Karuna Society finds its raison d'être. Because nothing speaks as much as these moments of silence. And it is in these few moments that everything seems right with their world. Because this is how their world is meant to be.